I stared at the envelope on my kitchen table, its crisp white surface mocking me with its official letterhead. Another notice from the insurance company. Another reminder that the world I thought was stable had fractured, while politicians played their games in Washington. My hands trembled as I tore it open. The numbers jumped off the page like predators lunging from the shadowed corners of my apartment. The $1,873 premium, more than triple what I'd been paying. The government shutdown had ended the subsidies that kept us afloat, and now the Affordable Care Act felt like a cruel joke. Without payment by Friday, my coverage would lapse. Emily's inhaler sat on the counter, half empty. I remembered her last asthma attack, the blue tinge around her lips, the way her small chest heaved like a bellows trying to force air through a collapsed tunnel. The specialist visits had kept her condition manageable. Without coverage, those inhalers would cost more than my rent. I could already hear her struggling for breath in the night, the wheezing that would keep me awake with terror. The apartment felt colder than it should have been for early autumn. I opened my laptop, the glow illuminating my hollow cheeks in the dark room. The healthcare.gov website loaded with its familiar message, "System unavailable due to government shutdown." I clicked refresh again and again, each attempt more frantic than the last. The cursor blinked mockingly, a digital heartbeat counting down to disaster. That's when I noticed it, the shadow in the corner of my screen. At first I thought it was just a trick of the light, but it grew darker, more defined. It seemed to pulse with each failed attempt to access the site. My breath caught in my throat as the shadow began to take shape, a silhouette of a man in a suit, holding what looked like a bill with my name on it. I slammed the laptop shut, my heart hammering against my ribs. Just stress, I told myself. Just the anxiety of not knowing how I'd pay for Emily's medicine. But when I opened it again, the shadow was still there, now moving independently across the screen. It pointed toward the payment portal, then made a slashing motion across its throat. The electricity flickered. The refrigerator hummed to a stop. In the sudden silence, I heard it, a soft knocking at the door. Not the urgent pounding of a friend or neighbor, but the precise, methodical tap of someone who knew I couldn't ignore them. I crept to the peephole, my bare feet cold against the linoleum. The hallway was empty, but on my welcome mat sat a single document, a final notice with my name typed in blood-red ink. As I watched through the peephole, the words began to change before my eyes. Payment due immediately. Failure to comply will result in collection. The knocking came again, louder this time. I backed away from the door, my back pressing against the opposite wall. The apartment felt colder, the shadows deeper. From the corner of my eye, I saw the shadow from my laptop now standing in the hallway, its form solidifying with each passing second. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about what happened when you couldn't pay. What happened when the system failed you. What happened when the government shutdown became more than just a political game. The knocking turned to pounding. The shadow reached for the doorknob. And I realized with dawning horror that the real nightmare wasn't the premium increase, it was what came after the coverage lapsed. The collectors didn't just want my money. They wanted payment in something far more valuable. Something I couldn't afford to lose. Something Emily needed to breathe. The door handle began to turn slowly, deliberately. I backed into the bedroom where Emily slept, her breathing already slightly labored even in sleep. The shadow filled the hallway now, stretching toward the bedroom door. It wasn't just a collector. It was the embodiment of every promise broken, every safety net withdrawn, every bureaucratic failure that had led us here. The door creaked open, and the darkness poured in.